Hello everyone, I'm Natasha of Antonia, Remington. I'm getting ready to do a fancy little paint tutorial for you. This is stage 2. For those of you who didn't see yesterday, we did a kind of ombre look on this piece. I used Annie Sloan paints. I did Scandinavian pink, Napoleonic blue, a little Provence. So yesterday, after I let this dry, I went to the side and I took the...
Will you want to turn?
Yeah.
Oh.
I took the same idea that I did on the front and I did it on the side. I let that dry and then I mixed a color because as I was looking at the original picture of what I did, I realized that I wasn't 100% confident in the color that I used to do the wash. So I created one and I used Antibes. I used Giverny. That's a fun word to say. Giverny. I used Giverny and I used a little mix of pure white and Florence. And then I just did a wash on there. You can see why I did the white on this piece first. If you can see this little line right there. When we're all said and done, I want a lot more of this coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the front. Can you switch it?
Yeah.
Flipped Out Furniture is watching. Where Michelle is watching.
Again,
Robin Bound Hoffman's watching.
my bristle brush. Hi, Robin. My bristle brush. As I said, I was going to try to do the Antoinette yesterday, just really over the Scandinavian pink, but it's humid here, so it didn't dry good enough, well enough for me to do that step. So I'm just going to mist it a little bit, just to get some movement. Not a lot. I don't want it to drip. You can see I am like barely putting any paint on my brush, and I'm just going to start working this in a little bit, little sections at a time.
Don't forget, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. I'll read them to Natasha and she can answer them for you.
And again, like yesterday, I'm overworking my paint a bit. It's just my process. But you can see it's starting to come together now. Like as we add that second color, it's starting to mesh a little bit. I like the way this looks. Okay. And you could bring a little bit down just to add a little bit more character. And I'm going to go on the Provence a little bit, just a little bit, so that when I do the misting, you could see some of that coming through. And if you think you did too much or you don't like it, just give it a spray. It'll loosen it up a little bit. Like that. I'm going to bring this down on the sides just a little bit. And you can see as I sprayed it, you start to get a little bit of that Scandinavian coming through. That's what I really want to have happen. You can see it right there and right there. That's what I'm looking for. Not a ton, but a little bit. So I'm just doing that on that portion of it. I'm going to use my same brush because I didn't really use that much paint. And here's the color that I mixed up. You can see it's kind of turquoisey, I guess. And I'm going to come through, just going to give this just a little spray.
Is that a special kind of mister you're using?
Somebody asked that? Oh, I think it's for hair. I'm not entirely sure. but I got it on Amazon. But it is a mister, not a spray bottle. If I used a spray bottle, that can get really cool look too. But it's more like a streak, and it's pretty powerful. So this is just nice and mellow to kind of mesh the colors together. And you can see some of this starting to work like that. That's the stuff I really love, like this right here. That's gold. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with this color, and I'm just going to do the whole thing. You don't want too much. I'm wiping most of it off. I'm just blending it in, but not entirely. I want some of this to come through. If anything that you want to come through, any color that you want to come through, leave a little bit of it when you're doing it. It doesn't have to be perfect, and that way when you mist, more of that color will come through. Any questions? Comments?
Styled, Staged, and Sold is joined on.
Because as I spray it, all of the water, all of the paint is going to drag down. I want this to be a little bit more relevant down here. Okay. And you'll see what starts to happen. I do want some drips, but not a lot. I want more. I'm going to spray more on the sides so I get a little bit more drippy action going over there, so that it will add more age. And you can see this coming over here. I like that. And then you see the pink popping through, and then we have a little bit of the Napoleonic popping through. But that's really what we want to do. Get the paint moving there. Oh, I have to let this dry before I have to let this dry. I have to let this dry before I go ahead and do a very light coat of this mix that I did, which, if you missed it, was Antibes, Giverny, and a mix of Pure and Florence. But I have to wait for this to dry before I can come through and do that on the top, or else I'm just going to get it all muddy. The pink, it's going to turn purple. So you can see some of the purple coming through right there. But that's what I have to wait for. If you want, I can do the side. Any questions? Nope. Okay.
No questions yet, but I'll turn it so that you. So this was the side that you did before, or that you did yesterday.
Which is a mess. That's not how we want it to look at the end, but that's what it needs to look at at the beginning.
And you're going to show them how to do it on this side, right?
Yes.
All right.
So all I did is I took, you're going to need a few different brushes to make this work, and this Napoleonic is super thick, but I'm going to come through just like we did yesterday. Not being nice about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you have paint lines, it doesn't matter, because we are coming through with other colors later on. Just gonna mist it a little bit. Get the paint smooth. a weird angle for me to be painting at. And I'm going to bring it up because I want to do that ombre effect again. If I want a little white to pop through, I'm going to leave that open, or not go over it again. Going to come in with a little Scandinavian pink. You hear all the birds? Can you hear the birds?
Like we've got 12 crows nesting in the tree behind the house.
There's no rhyme or reason to the way I'm putting this on. I'm just putting it on. Using a little bit more. Right there.
Flipped Out Furniture said you've got them addicted to the mister. Robin said it sounds like we're in the islands with the birds.
I wish. Okay, I added a little bit more water just to get some movement. And that's okay if I got some up there.
Claire Nichols is watching.
Hello, Claire. I'm going to take a second brush that doesn't have anything on it. This is pretty much a dry brush. And I'm going to go ahead and just do a tiny squirt right there and start blending these two together. This is kind of cool to me. That doesn't bother me at all because once I do the second color, the color wash, a little bit of that's going to come through and it's going to look like it's aged. That's what I want. And this, I love all of this happening right here. Let's see. Go in different directions. And it doesn't look that great. I like this, but it doesn't look that great, and that's okay because it's not supposed to at this stage. I want to bring that up a little bit. And I just keep working it until I like what I see. And it's about there. I'm going to get a little mist just to get those colors working into each other. And then we have to leave that until it dries so that I can do a little bit of this color mixture that I did yesterday on the other side and bring it together a little bit more. But you can see we're getting some movement in here, and that's fun. That's what we want. That's what we want. Can you turn it around?
Sure.
I don't think that that's definitely not dry, but this is close to dry. But I like this too. Sometimes when you get a little bit of this drip happening and then we can see the Provence coming through, that'll just bring out more character once we do the second layer or the third layer as well. And then we've got some of this happening over here. I like that. If you don't like something like all this purple happening, just bring in the color, another color, give it a squirt, and that's that.